Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Disabled Story. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with wet blonde hair, large blue and brown spectacles, and a black t-shirt. I'm seated in front of a purple wall and some bookcases. This is my home office. Oh, I also have on a black headset for this Zoom interview. Like roughly 25% of Americans, 20% of the entire global population, and 17% of Philadelphians, I'm disabled. And whether we look locally, nationally, or globally, disabled communities are full of dynamic, diverse, and frankly, delightful people with their own stories to tell. All we have to do is listen. Now, folks, I was born with my disability. I've never known different. And as I continue to work in the disability community, I become naturally curious about other people's diagnostic tales. So I'm really excited and honored, frankly, to have today's guest, my friend Shubham, here with me today to talk about kind of his story. Hi, Shubham. How are you doing?
Hi, Nico. I'm doing good. I hope you're also doing great.
Thank
So,
you.
first of all, I would like to introduce myself to everyone of our listeners. So, myself, Shubham Jadhav, and I'm from India. I live mostly specifically in the Maharashtra state of India. And currently, if I describe myself, I'm the brown person, looking brown and wearing the glasses, and uh, if I like wearing a shirt, blue shirt, and yeah, this is myself. And if I tell more about myself, I have completed masters in pharmacy from the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology in the Nationalized College here in India. We call it as Naipara Hyderabad. It's a national institute here in India. And currently I'm working as a data analyst in a good organization here, in India. It's having its head office in the London itself. So, and we are having one branch at our in India at Hyderabad. Yeah, these are the things. Uh, Moving forward, do you want to ask anything about that?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Shubham, I really appreciate that background information. It's fantastic that you're in the pharmacy field. That's really great. I would love to hear more about that. But we'll get to the questions now. So, Shubham, what was your path to diagnosis like? Was this something that surprised you and surprised your family and friends? Or maybe was it something that you were considering or even actively pursuing? Tell us that story.
Okay. So first of all, before going to the diagnostics part, I would like to give some background on my disability, due to what it caused the disability and everything. So first of all, my disability is specifically due to the it's a muscular muscle weakness. Specifically, we call it as a muscular dystrophy. And if I go more specific, mine is a Becker Muscular Dystrophy. In short form, we'll call it as a BMD. So BMD is a X-linked inherited disorder of gene dystrophin. Specifically, what is dystrophin? Dystrophin is a protein, and dystrophin gene regulates the production and everything about the protein dystrophin. So specifically, what dystrophin does? Dystrophin it helps to it's specifically a bridging between the muscle tissue and the our skeleton. So here, in my case, the dystrophin, as it is there is some issue in the dystrophin gene. So the dystrophin protein is not properly produced, and uh, it's the binding between the muscular tissues and the skeleton is not properly been happening. And in this case, the patient or the person he will lose the muscles in his bodies progressively, and the muscles or the muscular tissues will get replaced with the connective tissue or the adipose tissue, which consequently happens like it will lead to the losing the strength of the muscles and progressively and that everything. And specifically, if I called about the issue of the dystrophin gene, so here in my case, it's a duplication of exons 3 to 9 in the dystrophin gene. Dystrophin gene is specifically, it's having total exons of 79 exons, and mine is a duplication of 3 to 9. And so, if I tell about the symptoms, will specifically in the initial days, at the age of 9 to 10, it will start with some pain in the calf muscles and everything. And with the consecutively, it will reduce, like, we'll lose some, day by day, we'll lose strength in the muscles, and it will like consequently lead to the weakness in all parts of our body. Specifically, more frequent, like mostly it will affect legs, or the hip bones specifically. And day by day, and consequently, the person will lose the walking ability. It will become difficult to walk, uh, to climb the stairs, and also to get up from the chairs or the from floor. So these are the things. And at last, like at the age of 20 to after like start of the disease, the person becomes wheelchair user at the age of 20 or 30. Actually, it varies with the age also, and the these BMD is a disease, like sometimes it gets start at the earlier of the age. Sometimes it may start at the middle of the age, middle of our life, or also sometimes it start at the age of 50, 60 of our life. So depending on that, the symptoms may vary. And one more serious muscular dystrophy is there, which is different from this BMD. It's called a Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's DMD. So DMD, they are mostly it's a deletion of exons 49 to 52 mostly. Mostly it's 51, 52 deletion, and that DMD is more serious than mine, whatever is BMD. So in the DMD, the progression is very speedily, and the total lifespan of the person will be up to the 20 years only. So at the last stage of the disease, it will affect the due to the weakness in the muscles of the chest and everything. It will affect the heart, it will affect the lungs, and that way it will lead to the death of the person. So this is overall background to my disease disorder or disability. Uh, uh, do you have any questions on that?
Shubham, thank you so much. That was a perspective to disability and diagnosis that I hadn't considered, right? Can definitely tell that your pharmacy training was fully on display there. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate the story that you shared. I'm interested to know, you talk about how um, BMD has affected you throughout your life, first in your calf muscles and then on other parts of your body. I'm interested to know a little bit more, to dig a bit deeper
Yeah, yeah.
into what
I'll
impact that has had on your life socially, as you
I'll
function
like
academically. Sure.
I would like more elaborate on the diagnosis part. Actually,
Yeah.
it's more interesting the diagnostic part is. I just like explain about the disorder and its symptoms. So I'll start with the diagnostic part, how we got the diagnosis and everything. Actually, in India, it's totally funny things to get the things diagnosed. So, when I'm at the younger age, at the 9 to 10, so what has happened? It all started with the pain in the calf muscles and the frequent falls. Actually, at that time, I was in a school like 4 to 5 grade, and the class of the school we are having at the fifth or fourth or fifth floor, and we have to climb all the stairs and go to that floor. So at that time, when I was sometimes it started like when I was climbing those stairs. it started pain in the calf muscles, and at that time I couldn't even walk and climb those stairs. And also sometimes it was like whenever I was walking a longer distance, it was started paining in my calf muscles. So my family, they were like, by thinking that it's just a fatigue or something, they were doing some, my mother and family, they were doing some massage in the calf muscles, so that like they thought like it will relieve some pain. So that time it relieved the pain, but the frequency of pain, getting pain, that increased a lot. And we were thinking that this is not due to the fatigue. So we were consulting different doctors, we were visiting different doctors. So one of the doctors here in India, he diagnosed, like from symptoms, he diagnosed probably that this is a Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD, DMD. And also that time he told Mary's serious symptoms to my father, like to my dad. So he told that this is very serious issue, and your son, like the progression will be fast, and your son's whole body will be affected, and this thing will also affect on the brain of the your son's brain. That time, like in India, these things are taken very seriously. And that time my father were become like so depressed, and he uh, become serious about that. uh, but he guessed it, the doctor guessed it correctly, but he guessed a little bit different disorder. He guessed the serious one. And after that, in India, we have some traditional medicines, some Ayurveda, some other medicines we have. So those traditional doctors also, we have those doctors, like they tested like that, they confirmed it that maybe some disease due to some spinal cord injuries, some spinal cord gap, or due to those things. But actually, it's not that disorder, but uh, frequently, like they gave some treatment which improved, which helped me to get some what we say get some strength, maintain some strength in my muscles. That way. And I have tried some homeopathic medicines also, as you know. And one funny thing I would tell about India. So here we have some sadhu babas or something, maybe the persons like who claim to be the having supernatural power, or power of God. So they will sometimes, when I visit, they will tell that this is a black magic done by some jealous people, or the people who thinks bad about you. And that also, like sometimes they were giving some treatments. So that was the funny thing where. And apart from that, if I tell about this, so until graduation, my like this weakness progressed a lot. I had the pain in muscles gone, the pain in the calf muscles gone. But after like the when progression happened, it progressed a lot. Like I lost strength in many muscles of my legs, my hip. And that way, like the walking became difficult, also the getting up became difficult for, and climbing stairs became difficult. But at the graduation age, I was in a walking state. After that, like and also until the completion of graduation, I have got good enough knowledge on the DMD, what is that, how it is happening, what causes that, and everything about that. And meanwhile, when I was in a graduation, I had a stem cell therapy there also, in one of the institute in the Mumbai. So doctors there, the doctors of that institute helped me a lot to understand this is more. What is how it happening, and everything about that. But somewhere in my mind, I was having doubt that DMD, by theoretically speaking or practically saying, DMD is more serious disorder. And I don't see in my case, I don't see the progression of the disorder that much speedily. Somewhere I was like I was thinking that this is not DMD at all. So I was searching for some DNA testing institute where I can have the DNA testing. So finally, when I was in masters, I was doing masters in another city in Hyderabad. So I have got one institute where I have got DNA tested, and finally I got the final result that uh, my disorder is due to the duplication of exons 3 to 9. And we can say that this is not a DMD, it is mostly BMD, Becker Muscular Dystrophy. So this is whole of the diagnostic part. Finally, I got to know that it's BMD. So this is the interesting part to the diagnosis of the disease. And you can see that in India, it's how much late, like uh, after 15 to 20 year, I got the exact diagnostic of my disease. So if it is this late, it will affect on the treatments also. We can't get the exact treatment, and uh, that way it will be other issues. So any thing do you want to ask or suggest on this?
So I just really appreciate you laying out kind of how your diagnostic journey has played out through your whole life. I see kind of my own journey in that where um not until I was 12 or 13 did we know the exact genetic cause for my own condition. So as we were discussing the different exons and exactly how your gene duplications lead to your condition, that really resonated with me. Thank you, Shubham. If we could like go back in time, right? Or even if you could give advice to someone younger with muscular dystrophy, what advice would you give?
Uh, First of all, like I'll go from diagnosis to the living in the life. So
Sure.
first of all, from the diagnostic perspective, first suggestion I would like to give to the person is like if anyone is or you are suffering from the muscular dystrophy, anything, DMD, BMD, whatever it is, if you are suffering from that disorder, first of all, first thing you should do that you should get all of your family members tested with this with the DNA testing you should do. Because in this case, like sometimes some of the family members will be carrier, some of the family members will be affected by the disorder. And yeah, first of all, in both the cases, if affected or if the person is carrier, so we should, in those cases, first of all, we should avoid pregnancies. Maybe like I should suggest like we can do some. We have now IVF or something or some adoption of things also we can do. And second of the thing, if a person is affected with the disorder and yet the progression has not started, the disease not started, so we can perform some treatment, we can give some physiotherapy, some treatment so that we can maintain the muscle strength of the person, and we can reduce the progression of the disease. This is first thing. And if the person is already affected and he is at the different stages of the progression of the disease, there I should suggest you should regularly perform some physiotherapy, some massage, or some exercises, some yoga, meditation, and take also some medicines which will maintain the strength of the muscle. Actually, if I tell more about the exercise, again, it should not be a gym exercise specifically. Actually, if we do the gym exercise, what will happen? The exertion of muscles will happen more, and it may affect reversely that it will damage the muscles more, and the wear and tear of muscles will be higher, and that way you may lose the muscles strength also. So the exercise should be also should be just normal things like movement of the any like body parts, movement of the normal movement uh, repeatedly. So this is first thing. And after that, one more thing I would like to tell that uh, in this muscular dystrophy, if like your daily routine is there and you are performing any activities daily, so do perform those activities daily, like walking, climbing stairs, sitting, getting up. So what will happen if we'll perform those things regularly? The strength in those muscles, whatever we are using, it will be maintained, and we can perform those activities regularly. But sometimes what happen, if we not perform those activity for 2 days, 3 days, or let's say even for 7 days or a month, so what will happen, we'll lose the strength in those muscles what we are using, and will consequently will lose that doing the activity for that this is, and will lose that movement permanently. And one more thing is like we should also, while like we are in walking state, we should focus more on we should avoid sudden falls also. Actually, what will happen if there is a sudden fall, and if some of our bones of the legs or hip, uh, that also may get fractured. So what will happen if the bones get fractured? We have to give more time for the recovery. So more time in the sense like in case of muscular dystrophy, the recovery will be slower, and the thing is that we have to take rest for maybe 1 year at also. So like if we take in a muscular dystrophy, if we take rest for the 1 year and will not perform any movement, uh, in that case, consequently, we'll lose so many movements at a time. Like in 1 year, we'll lose so many movements. So in my case also same thing has happened. Like in last before 2 to 3 years ago, I had a fracture in my leg, and after that, like before that, I was in a walking state, but and like after that, like when I had a fracture in my leg, after that I had to take rest for 1 year, and after that I had lost my ability to walk, to get up. So that way, like I had to allow I have become a wheelchair user after that. And this is everything. And yeah, one more thing, there are no curative treatments in overall world. We don't have curative treatments. Just some treatments which are there, like which may maintain the some muscle strength and everything. And after that, like in USA and European countries also, we have some diagnostics, some curative treatment. But here currently those are at the very initial stages, and we don't have like much efficacy, and the cost of that treatment is also much higher. So these
Yeah,
are the things. And if I advise, and uh, and at the last, like I would like to advise that don't get panic. Like if you know that you are having this disorder, don't get panic. Like any other, like everyone in this world, it's just one of the challenges in our life, nothing more than that. And this disability or a disorder is just a part of our life. It's not anything more like challenging. We should get depressed about that. And we should be proud about our disability. It's not a problem. Actually, it gives new perspective to our life, new perspective, and it will motivate us to work harder. And it will motivate us to work harder and achieve our goals, get success in our life. Finally, disabled people can do anything in their life. Disabled people, like normal people, disabled people can get a job in their life, can do a business, can earn a money, can live normal life, and also can get also they can get married, be a children, can travel, go out, they can drive as well, and they can play the sports also.
absolutely. Shubham, thank you so much. You are not only a wealth of information, but I also appreciate your resilient attitude. I, if I knew anybody who was dealing with an MD diagnosis, I would send them to you for all the information that you have and all the encouragement that you provide.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Shubham, as we close our time together, I want to give you a chance to promote yourself, talk about any recent successes or wins that you've had, where can people find you online if they want to connect with you? This is your chance to really, be your own cheerleader and promote yourself. So go ahead.
So first of all, recent means I would like to tell two things. Like I have completed a master's in pharmacy from the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology. That too, like I had to like from a nationalized college, and that too I had to live from like I had to live in the another city. Like I have to move from my native place to that city, and it's little bit difficult. And in India specifically, it is more difficult to move to the other city, to live there, to find accommodation and everything. So that is one thing. And apart from that, after that, like I have got a good job as a data analysis in a good organization. And there also I have been performing well. There, if I say so, like I have got best performer awards 3 to 4 times as well. And if I tell more interesting thing that recently I have been promoted to the senior analyst based on my performance as well. And at last, if I tell about myself, you can find me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm available there and free to talk, connect to new connections and new people. And there you can find me with the name Shubham Jadhav, and in bracket, as is mentioned with the mentioned with the disability symbol. So this is you can find me, and I would what to say? I would appeal to the connections new for. I'm ready to connect to the new people, discuss more on disability, inclusivity, accessibility, equality, and spread awareness on these topics. So thank you so much.
That's
So, yeah,
really beautiful. Shubham, thank you for participating and for taking some time to talk with me. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you again.
thank you for interacting with me
Of
and giving me
course.
the chance. Thank you.